What the hell is wrong with you? Oh, hey Rachel, what's going on with your hair there? I don't know, I just felt like wearing them pigtails today. Is that a crime? Also, is it a crime to, you know, sparkle up your nails? I don't know, I'm an adult, I do what I want. So a little while back, I made some comments on my Muppet vlogs that I didn't like the ending of the 4th episode of the new series. And actually, contrary to that, I thought the episode was pretty fantastic. In the episode, Miss Piggy tricked Kermit into having some of the guys at the office invite her to come out with them to go and have drinks or something. Initially, they were not happy about it, but through some harmless drunken karaoke fun, they all find out she's a lot of fun to hang out with, and it all turns out good. Until everybody showed up with hangovers the next day. All really funny so far, but then, this ultimately resulted in Kermit talking to Miss Piggy, convincing her to not do this anymore to save her show, and everything goes back to normal. And I didn't like that ending. Because even though there was no yelling involved, I did make note that Kermit was a bit of a pompous, manipulative jerk in the way that he went about it. Well, apparently some of you guys out there took that as me saying that Kermit should never be mean and he's too nice and that's just unlike him at all. Well guys, if you think that Kermit is allowed to have a single mean bone in his body and he's allowed to be a jerk to people every once in a while, well, I gotta tell you something. You're absolutely right! First of all, I never made the argument that Kermit is not allowed to be mean. I never said that. Go back and watch my video. Second, I never said that Kermit has never been a jerk. That's insane! Of course he's been a jerk! All throughout his existence he's been a jerk! Not sure if you remember, but I also said this in a past video.
Piggy, you are fired! You are fired! Piggy, you are fired! Fired!
What a jerk. I literally said Kermit is a jerk. And this was way before the show even aired. But for the sake of argument, we're gonna talk about this real quick. Kermit is a wonderful, wonderful guy who loves and just wants the best for everybody, but he does have a lot of faults. And he has also had several moments of letting frustration get the better of him. What's that you say? How can that be true? How can I possibly like a Muppet if they've been mean to somebody? Come on guys, really go back and look at your Muppet history. Statler and Waldorf are like some of the most famous jerks ever. Well, if you think about it, it's okay that Kermit's had lots of slip-ups throughout his career because that makes him more well-rounded and relatable. He has a heart of gold, but he's easily stressed. Although it's been this way since Jim Henson made Kermit out of a coat, the best examples of this probably come from back on The Muppet Show. The Muppets were basically known as being the epitome of anarchy when this show came out. But they're lovable and they're puppets, so it's okay. And ever since then, Kermit has been known as the ringleader of a group of absolutely crazy and insane, absurd bunch of characters. Kermit is the glue that holds everyone together, and with that comes a lot of instances where he'll just lose it because he just wants a little cooperation and order. And with the help of good writing, it's usually for the sake of comedy and has really good results.
Somebody tell those kids to knock it off!
Knock it off!
Knock it off! Knock it off! Now when we knock off the knocking it offs! Knock off the knocking it off! Knock off the knocking it off!
Knock off!
Knock it off!
But let's also be honest. That doesn't mean that when he's had moments of getting frustrated that it's always worked. Even though this was before The Muppet Show, take a look at this famous sketch from the first year of Sesame Street when Kermit literally becomes a bully.
You can tell I'm mad by the kind of things that I say to the monster, like this.
You big dumb stupid rotten monster! You make me so mad I don't believe it! You are without a doubt one of the nastiest monsters I've ever seen! And I'm so mad I'm gonna tell all my friends how rotten you are!
It was their first year of being on the air, keep in mind, and, you know, they were still kind of testing what would work with kids, and it wasn't that mean later. But basically, Kermit being a jerk works way better when he's frustrated and not when he's just being flat out arrogant. Jumping really far ahead, let's talk about the aforementioned karaoke episode and why I didn't like Kermit being a jerk at the ending. When Kermit has a quick conversation with Miss Piggy and tries to convince her not to take people out so late anymore because it's ruining the show, he ultimately results in telling her that she's too important to hang out with everybody. This then leads to her immediately falling for this lie, going back to her old self, and then restoring order to the show.
What's really going on here is that, you're too special.
That may be my favorite thing you have ever said.
So really what's best for them is to, see that you're unapproachable.
And it wouldn't be so bad if Kermit really did feel that way, but instead, he literally says that he was manipulating her.
When our show's on the line, I can manipulate with the best. Because I learn from the best.
Doesn't sound very caring to me. By the way, isn't this also coming from the frog who in the first episode was one who said that they should be honest with each other from now on? The way that I took this when I first watched it is that this means his intentions are not only selfish and cowardly, but it shows that he doesn't really respect her. And again, I don't like that. Do they want us to like him and believe that he's learning from his past mistakes? Because it sure doesn't feel like it. I don't know. maybe that's why they also resulted in making sure that Kermit appreciated her too.
Piggy really is the best, isn't she?
You know, I'm not really a TV expert, but that kind of seems like a cop-out, and in my opinion, it's a little too soon for him to be making comments like that in the show. On paper, this idea does kind of make sense because Miss Piggy is really self-absorbed and thinks really highly of herself, but what also gets me about it is that she falls for it way too easily. As a strong, independent woman, she should be seeing what he's doing here and just tell him to get bent already. And again, I mentioned this in my vlogs, but I do not mind at all that Miss Piggy stopped hanging out with everybody at the end of the episode. Quite often, TV shows do that. They normally have the conclusion of the episode go back to how things were before so that then they can have another episodic story to follow. I only have issue with how this happened. If Kermit had maybe tried to convince Miss Piggy that she needed to be a better superior and set a better example for everybody, then that would have been more liberating and it would have shown a professional growth in their relationship. Or if maybe she had come to terms with it herself and have Kermit be genuinely impressed by this, then it would show that he can now trust her because she'll do the right thing in the end. But no, instead Kermit flat out lies to her, he gets his way, and he doesn't pay for it. Even though in the episodes beforehand Kermit was complaining about how she was such a terror to everybody and now she's suddenly everybody's best friend. It's not funny, it's not tragic, it's kind of a downer, and I don't buy it. So, why should I feel for this guy? And I'm sorry to say, but it's also kind of disappointing that they completely downgraded one of the few female characters in this franchise who has a full-rounded personality. Yes, we love to laugh at her pain and everyone else's pain, that's what makes it funny. But I don't like laughing at her stupidity. I don't think she would fall for something that easily. I'm just saying. And even though Kermit and Miss Piggy have had manipulative moments throughout the show so far, they at least became aware of it by the end of the episode, creating either dramatic or comedic results, but either way, it's been satisfying. Plus, we love watching them bicker. It's funny, and we also really like watching them have tender moments with each other. Except for this one moment that I'm talking about where Miss Piggy is not made aware of it, she falls for it, and Kermit gets away with it. Even though there is probably a whole nother clear way to go about it. I kind of hope that maybe something like this will happen again so that then Kermit can realize that he's not been a very respectable boss or friend and, I don't know, maybe create some nice tension between them or something. But if not, it's not going to be the end of the world, especially because the next episode did kind of redeem all of this. And it really is my only one big complaint about the show so far, so that's really saying something. Bottom line, Kermit has clearly had lots of moments where he was a jerk or overreacted to things or was also manipulative, and it works. It absolutely works. But in these instances, if it's going to work properly, it's got to be to either make Kermit suffer for the sake of comedy, or Kermit has to have it come back to him sooner or later, making his jerkiness something that he has to pay for. Which can also be funny, but it can also, you know, be kind of a touching moment as well. If not, then it just kind of comes off as being mean-spirited. And believe me, that's happened a lot, but usually when it works the other way around, it's not a very fulfilling moment. And let's face it, that's not really what we want when we watch the Muppets. The Muppets make us feel good about ourselves in the end, and that's why we love them so much. And I know that I like to find moments to nitpick with this series along with like everything else that I watch, but that's just my critique mind at work, and it's because I love watching this show grow and seeing what kind of direction it goes in. It's had some really funny stories and moments, and it's also had a lot of really touching and mature moments as well. I just had a problem with this one ending because Kermit's manipulation did not have a negative effect. That is it, plain and simple. It's inevitable that Kermit will be a jerk at times, but we still forgive him and love him for it because it makes him more relatable. And, for the most part, his intentions are good. Keep in mind, not everything in this franchise is gonna hit bullseye, but that's also to kind of be expected when it's been around for like 60 years. And you know what? If you guys out there still have an issue with me having an opinion on the matter after watching this video, then I don't know, maybe you guys should find a hobby or something? I will be the first to admit, maybe I looked into this too deeply, and I'm also not always gonna be right about everything that I say. And keep in mind, those comments I make in my vlogs are my thoughts right after watching an episode and what I got out of it immediately after. Opinions change sometimes, you know, I feel a little differently about some things that I talked about. And I know I'm kind of quoting Jenna Marbles here, but if you guys do have issues about my opinions on certain subjects, then keep in mind, you're watching a dumb white girl talk alone in her bedroom to a camera every week about the Muppets, so maybe your priorities are a little too high. I'm a really weird human being if you haven't noticed that. I do this because I am passionate about this franchise at this time in my life, and I like sharing my thoughts on the internet because it's fun. And if there are people out there enjoying what I do, that's awesome. Weirdos unite! Woo! I still have nothing but respect and love for this franchise and these characters, and the last thing that I want to do is represent them disrespectfully. But just like my girl Taylor Swift says, haters gonna hate, and I'm just gonna shake it off. Yay! So those are my thoughts on whether or not Kermit is a jerk and why it's worked throughout the years. Now, my question for you guys this week is, what do you guys think of Kermit being a jerk? As always, go ahead and leave your comments below and I will read them. Believe me, I will. Because I like reading people's opinions and sometimes your critiques are helpful. And for those of you who do choose to come back, be sure to let me know also in the comments if there's anything specific you want me to address in the next Muppet Monday. Because no matter what, I still love all of you guys out there for watching and I will always value your insight. I promise. Believe me, your comments certainly got me going about this subject. Thank you so much for watching and please be sure to subscribe to my channel and my blog channel and I will see you guys again real soon for some more reacts, reviews, and Muppet Mondays.